humid emerald hush of West Africa, where mangrove roots knot the banks of the Calabar and fireflies spark against the night, fear once hid in every cradle. Among the Efik people, a whispered taboo ruled that twins were a warning from the spirit world. To protect the village, mothers were forced to abandon both infants in the forest, each laid in a clay pot for ants and hunger to finish. When 28-year-old mill girl turned missionary Mary Slessor stepped off a paddle launch at Duketown in 1876, the tropical heat felt like a furnace. She had only a cheap canvas valise, a tattered Scots Bible, and a vow that no child would die within her reach. She set to work learning Efik by lamplight, repeating verbs while malaria shivered her spine. Within months, villagers called her Ma. Her first showdown came at dawn on a narrow path outside Old Town. A hunter had heard faint whimpers and led Mary deep into the bush. There, in a cracked pot between tree roots, lay twin newborns, one already still, the other weakly pawing the air as driver ants swarmed. Mary tore off her headscarf for a sling, brushed the insects away with bare hands, and marched back toward the village square. Furious elders barred her path. The chief's witch doctor rattled an ivory charm, warning the white woman that the spirits would strike. Mary answered in flawless Efik, "The children are God's, and he is stronger than any juju." No one dared touch her. She named the surviving girl Janie, washed her in a tin basin, and hung a mosquito net above the makeshift crib in her mud-walled room. Janie's soft breathing became Mary's midnight anthem, and her proof that the curse was a lie. Word spread. Nights no longer passed quietly. Frantic sisters would tap on her shutter, whispering of another birth in the forest. She trekked out in hurricanes, waded chest-high creeks, even bribed canoemen with the last of her flour to ferry her upriver at midnight. By the next rainy season, her house rang with baby cries. 8, then 12, then 20 small fugitives. Locals rechristened the compound Ekenge, Mother of Everyone. In 1888, Mary pushed farther inland to Okayong, a district where 2 male missionaries had recently been killed. Chiefs there enforced the twin ban with drums and war spears. Mary arrived alone, barefoot, hair tucked under a sun-bleached hat, and opened negotiations, not with sermons, but with a cooking pot and groundnut stew. She invited warriors to taste, then produced a pair of laughing toddlers she had saved months earlier. The men expected demons. Instead, they saw healthy children chasing chickens in the dust. Laughter cracked the fear open. Resistance did not vanish. One night, a masked Egbo secret society dancer burst into the yard, demanding she surrender newly rescued twins for sacrifice. Mary stepped forward with a hurricane lamp, its flame illuminating her fever-hollowed cheeks. She said, "If you strike, begin with me." The dancer lowered his staff. The mask slipped. He was the same man who, weeks earlier, had tasted her stew. He walked away. Mary's courage won her unexpected authority. In 1892, the British consul appointed her vice-consul and court president for Akoyong. She used the post not for power but protection, finding any village that harmed twins and rewarding families that kept them. She trained local twin missioners, mothers who scouted the bush, carried infants to safety, and nursed them on their own milk. By the turn of the century, clay death pots cracked unused under vines. The work consumed her body. Malaria bouts left her too weak to walk. She preached while lying in a hammock, babies curled against her worn tartan shawl. Still, she forged on, mediating tribal wars, establishing a tiny palm frond school, and escorting wounded carriers through 30 miles of rain-soaked trail to the region's first bush hospital. On 13 January 1915, exhausted yet unbowed, Mary Slessor whispered, "Heaven is opening. God is calling me home." Villagers drifted into silent grief. Canoes bore her coffin down the Cross River draped in the Union Jack, but the greater flag was the chorus of former outcasts, hundreds of twins now grown, lining the banks and humming a low Efik song of gratitude. Today, every child born in Cross River State breathes because one red-haired Scot believed love could shout louder than fear. Remember Mary Slessor, the woman who traded comfort for clay pot cradles and rewrote a nation's lullaby.
sognando. Thank you, my Slessor, baby. So sognando, almost so. So sognando. Thank you, my Slessor, baby. Passi minha ao fim, eu vou ficar. Zone 4, étiquette qu'ici, qu'il faut permasser. So, so, yeah, yeah. Oh, my, c'est so, so, yeah.